So when did you first start realizing that you wanted to identify as something other than the gender that you were assigned at birth?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably about 3 years ago is when we first kind of started experimenting with like me wearing female clothing. But I don't think I really had the desire until it was, gosh, last year during COVID when we had the lockdowns. And I was starting to get dressed up every night. And then it was just the pain of taking off the hair, taking off the makeup, and realizing I really feel like presenting male was the show. And I wasn't living my reality. And it just slowly became harder and harder and harder. And I don't remember the exact day, but it was just basically me going, this isn't right. Like, I want to stay female. Everything feels right and I feel good and I can express myself emotionally. So I would say maybe midsummer, I kind of had that realization.
And how did that conversation first go with your wife? What were your feelings heading into really putting that all out there to her? And I mean, it just seems like she's just such an open and loving person, just from what I've gathered from your interviews and the podcast and all that.
Yeah.
So safe space and everything. But what was that conversation like for you?
Well, it was a multitude of conversations leading up to the big one. Mm-hmm. And they, she had noticed like, hey, you're really getting into this. Like, this is the thing, you're heading that way. And before I had really recognized that this is what I wanted to do, I was fighting it tooth and nail. I was like, no, this is just a thing. I was almost embarrassed and ashamed because, boys, society says boys don't become girls. We don't dress like girls. We don't play with Barbies, So it was this series of conversations where I think, but I know she knew. Like, she knew deep down inside. And actually, here's how I know. I remember this. She had called her mom and was talking to her and told her mom early on over the summer. And this was disclosed to me later. But she said, this is happening more and more. And I think there's going to be a point when Gabe doesn't come back. I think he's going to stay presenting as a girl. So we had all these conversations. And one day she had mentioned to me about still seeing the female in her mind in the daytime. And so I took that as like, oh, you know what? I got to stop this crazy fetish. So that was the moment when, like I said, in my coming out video, I went and I tried to kill Gabbi, where I shot up a bunch of steroids and I could just feel Gabbi's light going out. Because that's the thing I knew to do, was just go be masculine and bury the feminine side. Mm-hmm. So I got really depressed. Same thing because I walked into the closet. I think I mentioned this many times in the coming out video. I would walk into the closet and I would see my clothes and my wigs. And I just got more and more depressed every day, to the point where Priscilla noticed and she had to have a conversation. It was so bad. It was hard to breathe. It was like there was weight around my heart pulling me down. And she just came to me one day and said, hey, babe, is there something you need to tell me? And I kind of shook my head, yeah. And I said, yeah, let's go talk. And so we sat on the front porch. We had fought like the night before or the day before. We had a pretty good sized argument. So we kind of hashed that out. And it was more of me just apologizing for everything. I was so depressed about everything that I had kind of flown off the handle, so to speak. I was just emotions. I had anger, I had depression, I had sadness. I just didn't know what was going on. So when I apologized, it kind of caught her off guard. She's like, oh, okay, something's going on. And she said, what is it you need to tell me? This is a safe space. And I tried so hard to just blurt it out. I knew if I didn't say it, it was either that or shoot myself in the head. Like, I couldn't go on anymore.
You mean that like quite literally?
Oh, no, yeah, literally. I had been through the visions in my head. I didn't want to. My brother had committed suicide in 2013, so I know what it does to a family and friends. And I've got my daughter, she just tried to walk in. But I've got my lovely 9-year-old daughter, and I've got my wife, and here I am thinking, like, I can't leave them. God, it was 2 days ago, I got a message, and I had been speaking with a person on the internet for about 3 or 4 days. They had a cousin who was transgender, trying to transition male to female, had mentioned that this person was having a really difficult time. And I reached out because I saw the comment and I said, so-and-so, please have your cousin message me, or please give me her Instagram or whatever it takes. I will message her and talk to her. I'd love to have the opportunity just to let her know everything's okay and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. He had a great 3-hour conversation. She watched my coming out video. It sounded like she was back on track. And I said, hey, if she needs to talk, I'm here. I got a message, like I said, it was yesterday or the day before, and she committed suicide. It was too hard for her. And before not that I could have stopped it, but it's just, that's how important support is. And that's how important understanding is. I was hours too late communicating. And I just think, well, if she had heard our podcast, or if she had seen a different video, or if she had been able to see more transparency, maybe we could have changed that. And so that's the hope. That's what I really, really want to do. And that's why that support is so important.